Right, so this is our intermediate class this week, and our theme is on vibration. So last week we talked about rhythm and flow, right, and bringing in different sort of rhythms into the practice, and vibration is even more subtle, right? It's the waves of sound that vibrate, and we can't see vibration. We can feel it, but we're not able to actually see vibration. And there's more and more evidence that this sort of vibration in our bodies, and maybe you've felt it sometimes, this, this feeling of when things are shaken up a little bit, that they settle. And the idea, if you think about, and maybe you've seen these on little videos, which I've seen and I'm always really fascinated by, is, take something like a tray of sand or a piece of paper or even a drum, like these open drums, and put sand on it, and then hold it or place it over a speaker, and these patterns start to emerge. And so vibration can seem kind of random, but actually there's a sort of more of a method or a pattern to it, often. And vibration also occurs in water, and you can see it in water, right? The ripples of the water under vibration. And our bodies are made up mostly of water. And so that kind of vibration in our systems can have quite a calming effect. I should also say that a vibration can have an agitating effect. It can have the opposite effect. So it's a really individual, right? Listening to a jackhammer, that's vibration, not so calming on the system. So we're going to work today with a couple of sounds that we make with our voices to create vibration in our bodies. And whenever I suggest sounding, it's always optional, right? Not everyone feels comfortable making sound, although you can do it really quietly. If you're in private space, it sometimes is a little more comfortable than just making sound, in a group full of people. But I encourage you, even if you do it quietly, to make the sound, because it's actually the vibration in the body that carries that magic with it. So we'll use two different sounds. One is a humming breath, and it's literally just breathing in and exhaling with a hum. And you can try that with me a couple of times, and you might feel some resonance. I feel it mostly in my head, so I encourage you to notice where you feel it. So let's do that just maybe 3 times. So breathing in. And pause and breathe normally for a moment. And then the second sound that we'll make is a more open sound. So the jaw drops, and I really encourage you to make the sound with a wide open mouth. So you can make an ah sound, ah, with your mouth kind of closed. It's a different sound than if you really open and go ah. Try it with me. Right. I've been doing sounding and chanting for many, many, many years now, and I always find it makes me warm. And it may have a similar effect, may have opposite effect or no effect in temperature for you at all. But I always find when I start making sound, especially the just sound, not words or singing, but those subtle and basic sounds, I always get a little bit warmer. So I invite you as we go through the class, and we'll do lots of times where we kind of pause and check in to really notice things like temperature, a feeling of either expansion or contraction in the body, a feeling of either being grounded or feeling kind of floaty. And just notice what's true for you. So there's no right or wrong. as we move into this, it's really just noticing what is present for you. All right, so we're going to come to sit. So you can find a comfortable seat on the ground or on a cushion or in a chair, whatever works for you. The light, oh, there we go. The light was not adjusting on the camera, but I think it's found me now. So last week, if you remember, we worked with a movement called the butterfly hug, which is part of that rhythm and flow of finding our grounding through rhythms. We're going to bring that back in, but we're going to also add in the vibration of the humming. So the butterfly hug, you cross your hands and you hook the pads of your thumbs. Fingers are pointed on an angle toward the ceiling, and then you want to bring your fingertips below your collarbones so you're not tapping your collarbones. And then the exercise is just to tap one side and the other. And this bilateral tapping, especially with the hands crossed, it activates the two sides of the brain and brings them more into balance. So as you do this, and as you get into your own rhythm, we're going to add the humming breath. So in your own time, we'll do several breaths this time. So I'll cue you when we're about to do the last one. So whenever you're ready. One more. And then just allow the hands to rest on your body. Let go of the sound and just breathe normally for a moment. And then slowly releasing the hands, I invite you to take another minute or so and just notice what's present for you. There's a bit of a meditation here, just being tuned into the sensations that are present in your body right now. So we're going to add another sound and another movement. So this sound is the second sound that we'll work with today, which is ah. And remember again to open the jaw and really relax the jaw down. Make it as big and open a sound as you can. So the movement is to raise the arms up as we breathe in and then come over the legs. You can bring the hands to the thighs or to the ground as you add a forward bend, making the ah sound as you move. So as you exhale, I should say. So inhale here. Last one. And let's lift all the way up and release the arms back down. And again, we'll spend just a few seconds up to a minute or so just noticing what you're aware of now with that new sound and movement that we brought in. So what do you feel in your body now? It may be exactly the same, may be different. You may not feel much at all. So I invite you to really notice whatever is true for you. Let's add in a little bit of movement for the head. So taking the chin and dropping it down towards the front of the chest, lifting the spine, dropping the shoulders. And then drawing the head back up to center, we'll turn the head to one side and go as far as is comfortable for you till you feel some gentle restriction. And then go to the other side, and again, just go until you feel gentle restriction, not forcing your head at all. Back to the center, and then we'll tilt the head. So again, dropping the ear toward the shoulder just until you feel some gentle restriction, bringing it back and over to the other side. And back to center. So now as we move, I'm going to invite you to come back to the humming breath and to really feel the resonance in your throat and neck as we move the head. So you can turn your head to one side, breathing in, and then humming as you make a half circle. You come up to the side and breathe in, and then hum back across. So breathing in to each side and humming as you move. One more. And then slowly bringing your head back to center. We'll move in the cat-cow position now, or movement for the spine. So inhale, arching, exhale, and rounding. And let's bring the awareness all the way down as we breathe in, all the way to the belly. And exhale, gently contracting the belly as you move back. Relaxing the belly as you breathe in. And gently drawing in towards your core as you exhale. Great, and let's come back to a neutral spine. So now you want to be on the ground. So if you're sitting on a cushion, you're just going to slide it out. Or if you're on a chair, you can just let yourself come to the ground. Bring your feet out in front of you, feet on the ground, and your hands supporting behind you. So knees are bent. And it's starting to move the knees to one side and the other. So if your body, well, it probably will start to crawl forward. As you do this, you can always just shift back or walk your hands forward so that your shoulders are comfortable. And then come back to the center and bring the feet a little wider, wide enough so that when the legs come down, they're not on top of one another. And then you're going to release the back hand, letting the legs come down, and turn around to the space behind you, so towards the hand that's now back. You can use the hand that you've released from behind you to press into the ground or onto your thigh to lift you tall as you turn to look back over your shoulder in a gentle twist. And then let's come back around, coming to the other side. As long as it's comfortable for your knees. So if you feel pressure on the knees, you might want to bring the legs a little closer together. And again, taking the hand, bringing it around, using that hand against the ground to lift you tall as you take a breath or two here in the twist. Right, and then back to the center. We'll go once more to either side, warming up the hips, the spine, the sides of the waist. Just a nice gentle twist. You're not forcing your body into a deep, deep twist as we warm up. One more time to the other side. Right, and then coming back to the center. So let's swing the legs around now and come onto hands and knees. And we'll move from all fours with a little bit of arch. Want to soften the elbows, draw the chest forward, and then exhaling, rounding, and coming to child's pose. So very common movement that we do most weeks at some point. And then we'll add in the sounding. So I'm going to encourage you now just to bring a little more attention to alternate between humming and awing. So you start one exhale humming. And then inhale, back up. The next exhale, making the ah sound. Ah. So alternating, humming one exhale, ah the next exhale. One more set, so one more hum, one more ah. And then find a comfortable way to be in child's pose. So you can be on your forearms or rest your head on your hands or head on the ground. Arms can be forward or back. So coming into this internal space of child's pose, coming to your breath. So you're really feeling, noticing your breath as you're in this position, noticing where it moves in your body. Maybe noticing any residual vibration from the sounding, if any is available to your awareness. Okay, when you're ready, we'll come back up to all fours. And for this one, stretching one leg back, breathing in, and then exhale, drawing your knee towards your nose. We'll do it a few times, Just the breath now, no sounding. Exhale, knee in. Inhale, stretch out. Good. This next part is a little bit tricky, so you may need to do some fancy footwork to get there, but you'll bring the knee in, and then you're going to take your foot and slide it around your front knee. So the leg that you were moving back is now crossed over in front of your other knee. And then rocking forward, inhale, and moving back any amount that's available. It's going to feel awkward. And it might just be a small movement for you. Be kind to your knees if there's any pain or tension. It's a really small movement. Great. And then when you come back over your hands again, you'll bring that knee forward and slide back. And then we'll do the other side. If you need a break in between to give your wrists some movement, you can take a break. And if you're ready to move on, you can inhale, stretch the other leg back. Exhale, rounding and bringing it in. Inhale, exhale. Go at your own pace. You don't have to follow my pace or even coordinate the breath with movement if that doesn't feel right for you. Okay, so this time you can bring that knee right up. You might have to lift up a little bit to get that foot around your knee, and then you want to try to have knee in front of knee on the ground, and then a little bit of forward and back, rocking. See what your body will allow without creating tension, without forcing your body. Really honor your knees. Okay, less is more. Great. And then next time you come back over your hands again, so the weight is more forward, you can uncross and knees both side by side. And now we're going to move the knees wide apart. Come back toward the heels and come down onto your forearms or bring your head to the ground, whatever's comfortable for you. And now you're in a version of child's pose where there's some space between your legs so that you've got lots of room to let your belly relax. So as you rest here, see if you can breathe into your belly. So really feel the breath opening into the belly, maybe even into the lower back. And as you exhale, quietly hum to yourself. Let that go. Take another couple normal breaths here. And then when you're ready, we'll come back up to all fours and we'll make our way into downward dog. We're going to be stepping forward to warrior. So if you want blocks under your hands and you have them handy, this would be a good time to use them. So lifting up, let's walk on the spot, opening up the calves and the ankles a little bit here. And then we're going to step forward with the left leg. So you can first take the left leg back if you like, onto the toes of your right foot. As you exhale, bring that knee close up to your chest and you kind of spring off your back foot to get it as far forward as you can. And then if you need to adjust to make it fully towards your hands, you can do what you need to there, maybe dropping the back knee. So from here, you're going to take your back foot, turn it to the side, and get your whole foot on the ground. And really tune into the outer edge, the inner edge, the heel pressing down, the whole ball of your foot present against the ground. And then come up to your fingertips, lengthen your spine. And then if you want to come up a little easier, arms to the side. If you want to challenge yourself a little more, arms overhead, and lift with a long spine. Great. And let's bring the arms down for a moment. So from here, again, we're going to move forward, back up again. So the more challenging version would be to keep the spine long and the arms over the head as you come forward. And the less challenging version would be arms coming to the sides. So find the version that works for you, and we'll come forward and lift. If you want to coordinate breath, exhale as you go forward. And inhale as you lift. Okay, let's stay forward this time. So you can have your fingertips or flat hands on the ground or on blocks if you need. And then we'll bend the front knee a little and then move it a little straighter, letting the head release. Bend and straighten. As always, coordinating the breath is optional, but if you want to coordinate here, I find it sometimes helps me to keep my attention. Inhale as you bend, and exhale as you straighten. And then you'll find a position that's straighter, where you feel the stretch, but it's manageable. Let your head release and take a few breaths here. Great, and now put a little more weight into your front foot. Walk your hands forward about a foot. Step onto your front foot and lift your back leg up. Any amount, doesn't have to lift to the ceiling. Let your head release down. And then let's step back to lunge. So foot is pointing forward behind you, and we'll step back to downward dog. Walking on the spot for a few breaths. And then we'll try the other side. So you can come up onto your toes and take the right leg back. Big breath in, and as you exhale, pulling that knee in toward your chest, you can kind of spring off your back foot. And again, whatever it takes to get there. You'll turn your back foot so the whole foot is on the ground. And again, you really want to feel all the parts of your foot making contact. Really pressing into the earth and grounding yourself. And then finding your way upright from there. Breathing in as you come up. And exhale as you go forward, if you're coordinating your breath. Again, stay for a few breaths, and you can bend and straighten the front leg any amount. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight. You're looking for what feels right for you. Couple more breaths. And then find a position that's straighter, where you feel a good stretch. It's not too much, not too little. Soften here. And then bending the front knee, walk the hands forward about a foot. Step onto your front foot and lift the back leg as you release the head down. Great, make sure you're breathing, and then step back to lunge. And then step back to downward dog. And again, you can walk on the spot here. And then we'll lower the knees. Inhale, finding a little arch. And exhale, rounding, or child's pose. And repeat that a few times. You can rest for a few breaths in child's pose, letting your head come to the ground or onto your hands. And then as long as it's comfortable for your knees, try in child's pose rocking your hips a little side to side. Great. And then you can roll up to a seated position and just swing around to come back to sit down. You don't need your cushion or anything here. You can stretch the legs out in front. You can lean back on your hands. Just give your legs a little shake. Shaking is a kind of vibration too, so just give it a little shake and then just relax the legs and notice any sensations that you're aware of as you relax. And then come to sit up onto your sit bones, so you're no longer leaning back on your hands. And we'll bring one knee in toward the chest. It really doesn't matter which one. Okay. And then use your hands against your shin to help to leverage a nice long spine here. Okay. And then we're going to take the knee into the hand on that same side. You'll flex your foot so that your ankle is in a straight line, and you'll reach for your heel. If you can't quite reach for your heel, you can grab your shin. Let your knee come to the side so your leg is across the front of your body, and we're going to slowly rock that leg. Great. Now let's place the ankle just above the knee of the straight leg. Here we can lean back against the hands again and slowly bend the leg that's on the ground until your foot is on the floor. And if you don't feel any stretch in the leg that's up in the air, you're going to walk your hands towards your body and lift your spine a little taller, or walk your foot in towards your hip. So the closer you bring the leg that's up in the air to your chest, the more you'll likely feel a stretch in the outer hip on that side. If it's too much, you're going to move further away. If you want more, you're going to move in a little. You can rock very gently side to side to encourage some space into that hip. Make sure you're breathing. Great. And now let's release and straighten the leg that's on the ground and bring the foot to the floor on the opposite side, so the outside of that leg. And again, you'll sit up, you'll bring your hands around the knee and use that for leverage to lift your spine long. You want to make sure that you have your weight on both sit bones. So if you're rocking over to one side, you might try having your foot on the same side rather than crossed over, if that helps. And then some of you, and this is probably not all of you, but some of you may find that bending the leg that's straight over to your opposite side is comfortable. So you can try that. You lean away, so towards the foot that's on the ground, bend the knee in, and then come to sit down. Now, if you come to sit and your one sit bone is lifted off the ground, or this knee is uncomfortable, you're going to skip that bending part and you're going to keep the leg straight. So it's really only if you want more, and if your body says yes, you can come into this more compact position. So both sit bones on the ground, spine long, hands around the front knee, and lifting up. So check in. If you feel lopsided, just straighten that lower leg back out. All right. So now we're going to keep whatever knee is up, the opposite hand. So it's my right knee, left hand. It might be the opposite for you. And turn a little towards that knee. So you can either keep the hand on the knee or you can reach around with your arm. And then the other arm lifts up to lengthen the spine. So big breath in. Exhale, twist towards the leg, bringing the hand to the ground. Right, so your chest is coming towards your leg. And you can, again, either hold with your hand or your arm, or even some of you might bring the elbow to the outside of the knee. And then the hand behind you is pushing into the ground to lengthen your spine. You're looking back behind you. And breathe. Great. For the last couple breaths here, breathing into the wherever you feel tightness, and on your exhale, humming. Slowly release, uncurl, stretch your legs out in front, give them a little shake, and then sitting up tall again, we'll bring the other knee in. So again, you can hold around your shin to help lift your spine tall. You want to keep that length as much as possible as you let your knee go into your hand, flex your foot, reach for your foot or your shin if that's more available to you. Right, so you don't want to twist your foot here. You want to make sure it's flexed and stays flexed, and then that little rocking movement, side to side. Okay, and then you can place your knee, place your ankle above your knee. Sit back quite a bit, so it makes it easier to bend the knee the more you're sitting back. Bend your knee and then find your sweet spot. So drawing the chest towards the shin, or drawing the shin toward the chest by bringing the foot on the floor closer. So find your lovely spot here where it feels just right, where you can stay relaxed, but you feel the stretch. Let your attention go to where you feel the stretch and breathe into that tightness as if you could send your inhale into the hip or wherever you feel it. Exhale and soften. If you want to add a little bit of rocking, if that helps to ease some space into that hip, you can rock. And then you'll stretch the leg back out on the ground, bringing the foot to the floor across the leg. Hands come around the knee. And again, you might stay here, and that's probably a good option for many. Or if you like, you can lean over towards the leg that you're going to bend back. Bend it back towards the opposite hip. And again, you need to be able to get both sit bones down to make this work. So if you're kind of lopsided, then just go ahead and stretch that leg out again. It's really it's better to have your spine in a good position than to be a pretzel. So hands around the knee, lifting tall. So we're going to keep the hand on the knee that's opposite. So my right hand, left knee. Could be vice versa for you. Or you can wrap around to hug the knee. And then other arm reaches up to lengthen the spine. And then turning towards your leg, bringing the hand to the ground behind you. And looking over your back shoulder. Now you want to make sure you're breathing here. And if you like, you can add the humming. So as you inhale, sending your breath to where you feel the tightness. As you exhale, making the humming sound. Great. Slowly uncurl. Stretch out the legs. Give them a little shake. And let's make our way back to all fours, back to that all fours to child's pose movement. So you can just swing your legs around. And if you like, you can hum quietly to yourself each time you come to child's pose. So inhale, finding an arch. Exhale, child's pose, maybe humming. Let's spend a few breaths in child's pose, either legs together or apart, whatever you find more comfortable. Head resting on your hands or on the ground, and arms, again, could be forward or back. And we'll come back to tuning into the breath and noticing what's present in the body now. From child's pose, we're going to come up to a kneeling position. So you can sit right on your heels if that's comfortable for you. I know that for some people, ankles and knees say no way to that. And your option would be to be upright in a high kneeling position to start. So we're going to do kneeling sun salutation. Many of you are familiar with this movement. And we're going to add in, well, we'll do the first one just without sound, and then we'll add in sound the second round. So starting from kneeling, you're going to lift up and take the arms overhead, breathing in. And then as you exhale, child's pose. Inhaling all fours. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale all fours. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, high kneeling. Exhale back to wherever you started. So either up off your heels or back down on your heels. So we'll do that exact same sequence again, this time using the humming breath on the exhalation. Inhale it. Exhale forward to child's pose. Inhale all fours and then exhale downward dog. Inhale all fours, exhale child's pose. Inhale, high kneeling. Exhale back to the starting position. We pause here. Take a moment to notice what's present for you now. Sensations, thoughts, feelings. So we're going to move through another sun salutation, kneeling sun salutation. But when we get to downward dog, we're going to move into a pose called pigeon pose. And while you're comfortable here, I'll demonstrate the pose for you so that when we get there, you'll have what you need and be able to come into the pose. So pigeon is a stretch usually for the outer hip. And when we come from downward dog, we'll take one knee towards the wrist on that same side. And then we're going to wiggle the foot over to the other side. And then send that back leg back to bring this hip closer to the ground. Now, for most of you, probably won't come to the ground without you twisting your spine. And in which case, a folded blanket or a cushion to come to rest under the hip will give you the support that you need. It could be a block as well, so whatever you've got handy. And then we'll be coming into the reclining pigeon, coming onto the forearms or bringing the forehead down, okay? So, and then we'll move back to downward dog from there and over into the other side. So if you have a cushion or you have a blanket or a block handy, you can place it on the side of your mat. Doesn't matter which side. We're going to do both sides, so whichever side you want to do first, you can have the cushion or blanket handy. And then we'll move into our sun salutation from kneeling. And we'll let go of the sound now. So we'll just come back to breath. Inhale and lift. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, all fours. Exhale and come to downward dog. And then take your time and really honor your knee here. So if you feel a pull in your front knee, you may just want to come to child's pose instead of pigeon. Otherwise, taking your knee towards your wrist, you're going to wiggle the foot to the opposite side and then slide your back leg back. You can bring the knee down. And then without twisting your hips, notice as there's some space under that hip, there probably will be, and you can fill that space so that your hips rest evenly, right? There'll be a little space between your front, so your back hip and the ground, that's fine. And then from here, you can find a little lift into the back bend of pigeon, and then allow yourself to come forward, either onto your forearms. You can place your head on your hands or on the ground, whatever works for you. And as you stay in pigeon, we'll spend a few breaths here. You're more than welcome to come out at any time. Go back to downward dog or child's pose if you need to. And while you're staying, you might really tune into where you feel the stretch. And on your inhale, send your breath there. Create some space. And on your exhale, you can hum as if you're vibrating and sending that vibration into the tight area to give it a little bit more ease. And if you need to come out sooner, just go ahead and come to downward dog, child's pose. If you're still good in pigeon, we'll take a few more breaths. You can keep that humming going if you like. And then when you feel ready to switch, you're going to walk back up onto your hands. Tuck your back toes under. Lift up your hip and step back. And then from here, you can lower the knees back down, maybe move your prop over to the other side. We'll come to child's pose. Take a couple of breaths in child's pose. Maybe rock a little with your hips side to side if that feels good. You might notice a difference now between one hip and the other, since we've only done pigeon on one side, but you might not. I just encourage you to tune in and see what's true and real for you. And then when you're ready, we'll come back up to all fours and then into downward dog. And then from here, other knee coming towards the wrist on the ground. Wiggle your foot to the opposite side and stretch back with the back leg. You can bring the knee down, slide your cushion or blanket underneath you so your hips are level to the back, or so the back of your forward leg, hip is supported. And then you can walk the hands back a little to find a little more back bend here. Breathing into that stretch, and then exhale to release into the resting pigeon, either on your forearms or head on your hands on the ground. And again, the invitation here is to really feel where the stretch is as you're inhaling. Really notice that constriction, and as you exhale, you can quietly hum to yourself as if that vibration could relax those tight muscles. Really remember to honor your body. If your knee, especially the knee of the front leg, is twisting uncomfortably, do not stay in the pose. Come on out. If it feels like so much stretch in your hip that you're holding tension, just come on out, go to child's pose. And if you're happy here, we'll spend another couple of breaths. And again, when you're ready, you'll walk the hands up under your shoulders, coming into an upright position with your upper body. Tuck your back toes under, lift the knee, and step back to downward dog. So take a few breaths here. You can walk on the spot if you like. And then when you're ready, let your knees come back down to the ground. Move your props out of the way. And then we'll do a few rounds of moving from all fours with an arch. So the cow position to child's pose on the exhale. And if you like, you can just stay with that, or you could alternate. So the next exhale, you come into downward dog. So each inhale, you come to all fours, find an arch in the back. And exhaling, you either go every time to child's pose, or you alternate. One exhale, child's pose, one exhale, downward dog. If you like the humming, you can add it back in here for our last few rounds. Humming on the exhale. As you go, if you want to stay in child's pose or you want to stay in downward dog for a few breaths, please feel free to honor what your body wishes for. If you feel like movement is best for you, continue moving through that sequence. We'll take a few more breaths wherever you are, in movement or in stillness. Eventually, you might want to come back to downward dog just for the last few breaths here. Sorry, not downward dog, child's pose. For the last few breaths, you're just taking a moment to really soften, tune in. And if you're loving child's pose, it feels great to you, you can stay there a little longer. Whenever you feel complete with that, you can make your way onto your back. So you'll come down to the mat as you're ready, with your feet on the ground, knees pointing at the ceiling. Bring your hands to wherever you can feel a little movement of your breath. Just tune into your breath as it is. No need to change anything, no need to make any sound or coordinate the breath with anything else. Just breathing and tuning in and noticing. And then let your arms release from your body and come to the ground just somewhere a little bit away from your body. And walk your heels in or out until it feels that your heels are more or less lined up under your knees, about hip distance apart. So we're preparing for bridge pose. And in this version of bridge, we'll inhale as we lift up. And as you lower down, you feel kind of like you're deflating, and you can make some sound with your breath. You can open your mouth and sigh as you come down, or as you come down, or whatever sound wants to come out. And it could just be a breath, just a but let your mouth open, let your body release. So you're going to press into your feet. Inhale, lift your hips up toward the ceiling. And then exhale any sound. So let your body come down. You can take a breath as you come down and set yourself up for the next round, or just keep going one breath after the next. So inhaling, you're lifting. Letting your body sink with the breath. Couple more like that. Next time you come down, and stay there. Bringing your knees in toward your chest. And that forward and back movement that helps to release the spine. So exhale, knees come towards you. Inhale, straightening the arms to move the knees away. And again, if you like the sounding and it feels good to you, very quiet humming of your exhale. Just really tuning inwards now with the sound. And then letting that go, we'll stretch the legs and the arms toward the ceiling, circle the ankles and wrists. Keep the knees a little bit soft and bent, so there's really little effort in folding the legs up here. And then let the ankles and wrists be floppy and give a little shake. Just find a little shaking vibration in your arms and legs. And then we'll soften and relax the knees in, bringing the feet to the floor. And then I invite you to find a comfortable position for Shavasana. So for most of you, it'll probably be lying down, either with your knees bent or straight. You might want to cover with a blanket or put some socks or a sweater on. And if you prefer, you can always roll to your side and come to sit for Shavasana. So lying down, usually most popular, but sitting is a great option if you feel like you're maybe going to fall asleep and you don't want to. So take your time, get into a comfortable position. Make whatever little adjustments you need to. As you find that place where you can be still and comfortable and quiet in your body, take a moment again to simply notice that you're breathing. Feel the breath come and go from your body. And start to feel yourself letting go of the effort of the practice as you exhale and let your body sink and soften into the earth. Let your jaw release, throat, the neck, all the muscles around the base of the skull, around the mouth, the jaw, right down through the neck and shoulders down through the neck and throat into the shoulders. Let the weight of your head sink down into the earth if you're lying down, and feel that pressure on the back of your head and melt into that space. And if you're sitting, you want to find a position where your head is balanced over your spine and there's almost no effort to hold your head upright. As you exhale, let the shoulders, arms, wrists, and hands release. Soften through the shoulder blades and into the upper back, and the back of your body, softening across the collarbones and the upper chest and the front of your body. And letting your whole rib cage start to soften and melt. Relaxing your belly and lower back. Softening and allowing your hips to be heavy, the pelvis to drop into the earth, and all the muscles around your hips and lower abdomen, your buttocks, all softening here. Relax your thighs, your knees. The calves and shins drop, the heels release, the arches of your feet, balls of your feet, and the toes all softening. Let the breath come and go without your need to restrain or constrain it in any way. Just let it be. I'll share with you a chant today that goes through the vibrational colors of the rainbow. As well as a little extra blessing in there. Om Sham Udam Natyam Ramaha Om Krim Arohanitarangiram Om Krim Rudrugam Namasurya Om Shrim Harimananchana Shaya Om Shram Shuke Shume Harimanam Om Raha Rupanaka Sudatmasi Om Hram Hrim Hrum Hraim Hram Raha So let's deepen the breath now, inviting a little more energy into the body. As you do that, you might open your mouth and wiggle your jaw around, making sure there's not tension there. You can wiggle your fingers and toes and start to move the body in any way that would feel good. Moving and stretching. And if you're lying down and you're ready to come back upright, you can, at any time when you're ready, roll onto your side. Slowly make your way back to sitting. So I always encourage you to take these little nuggets into your life off your mat. And so this week, dealing with vibration and maybe noticing when you feel a bit hyper or a bit stressed out, and see if you can kind of bring yourself back down to a more calm place by using either the humming breath or the ah breath, and just see what the effect is for you. Everything is vibration, right? Even the colors of the rainbow that I was just chanting about, we see them because of the vibration, right? But pets don't see the rainbows because they see in different resonant frequencies. So it's also very interesting. Let's bring the palms together. Take a moment to feel your own vibration now at the end of our class. Notice what's present, what you're aware of. Namaste.